Now, welcome to Biztech Technology Show, the show where we feature technology companies operating globally, talking about their solutions and how they make a difference to their customers' businesses. Now, today we speak to Isabel Chong, Head of Digital Industries ASEAN at Siemens. Siemens was founded in 1847 and is an engineering and electronics company that specializes in the fields of industry, energy, transportation, and healthcare. It is headquartered in Munich, Germany. Now, Isabel, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Now, Isabel, before we start, give us an overview of Siemens and what it does. And of course, we know that you've just joined Siemens. You've only 5 weeks on the job.
Yeah, I mean, Siemens is already a very well-known brand, right? Actually, we help industry players, especially to actually automate and also digitize their solutions more and more. I think I will go into very details also, how in the past, especially the last 2 years, we have been doing a lot of projects, helping industry to overcome problems that we face, especially during the pandemic time. And therefore, giving a chance and opportunity for audience to actually understand what Siemens really does, to actually improve industry.
Okay, so in a nutshell, could you explain Siemens Digital Industries businesses in Southeast Asia and also your products and services?
Yeah, so I came from the digital industry, and within this division itself, there's actually 5 subdivisions. So we have the factory automation, we have the process automation, we have the service, we have motion control, and we also have the after sales service. So this actually make up the entire division. But to make it more understandable for the audience itself, what we really do is to help industry to really look into automating their process, and also digitalization in the whole factory's process itself. So what do we really do, right? So maybe to make it even easier to understand, we really help customers really to actually get data and also, analyze the data and then, put this data to full use, because there is a lot of data these days that you can actually get from industry, from our devices itself. But how do we actually put this data into good use is really where Siemens come into place, right? So with all these infinite data that we hope to get from industry itself, we actually provide infinite opportunities for the industry. So this is really what we are really trying to target to do in the next few years coming up.
Okay, and which are the key industry segments or market segments that you focus on in the region?
Yeah, I mean, Siemens, we won't be able to focus everywhere. So we actually look at the trending in ASEAN, especially because I personally manage ASEAN. So we actually see that in ASEAN itself, there's a lot of booming industry, such as F&B. So the food and beverage industry is definitely one industry we're very interested, right? If you look at Singapore itself, because of recently, especially during the pandemic itself, we have the SG 30 by 30. To make sure 30% of our nutrients is going to be manufactured in Singapore by 2030 itself. So because of all these sustainability by local government initiative, so we see a lot of local manufacturing, for example, in Singapore sprouting out. So food and beverage definitely is one of our interested target. And of course, our life science, pharmaceutical. You can actually know that the populations is also getting more in ASEAN. People are also getting rich. So the ability to actually invest in life science is also getting a lot. And semiconductor, we still see that the trend for this shortage of global chips and all this will continue. So this is another area that we are actually very interested to continue to focus. Last but not least, I think also for the oil and gas, we see that the oil price is also coming back, and with the recent war and all this, we also believe that this is a good place to invest. So in terms of verticals, this will be the few verticals that Siemens will continue to play. And of course, in terms of market, ASEAN, we are out of the 10 markets, we are just going to focus on the 6th market itself, which is Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines. And with these 6 countries itself, is already 89% of the population, 95% of the entire ASEAN GDP is already in these 6 countries. And also, 95% of the FDI inflow is also within these 6 countries. Yeah. So if you look at it from country-wise, we are just going to focus in these 6 countries. And then, in vertical-wise, those will be the few verticals that Siemens will be actually focusing and targeting.
And Isabel, in terms of your business units that you're responsible for, in these 6 markets, is your go-to-market strategy really around partners, or do you have boots on the ground?
Yeah, Siemens is pretty much a partner-driven company itself, right? Because a lot of us have a very long partners, from day one with Siemens. So Siemens actually value partnership very much within the ASEAN itself. But we also do not want to lose our ground, because we need to know what is the trending in the market. We have to run faster, to anticipate what is the trend, so that we know the customer's pinpoint, we know where to invest in our R&D. So we have kind of a hybrid strategy, while we are actually supporting our partners, to represent Siemens more and more in the market itself. We also have our end user division, whereby, we have our own service team, we have our own specifications, consultant teams that really goes to the end market and end user market itself, so that in this manner, Siemens can at the same time, be connected to the market, and therefore also, hand-holding our partners to grow more and more. So I think this is really a hybrid model that Siemens is going into, so that we can actually support the whole ecosystem.
Okay, so I want to now zoom in on something that you said earlier in terms of the pandemic and its impact on digital transformation. Now, give us some specific examples of how Siemens have helped to transform some of your customers' businesses.
It was actually interesting, right? During these 2 years, we actually, we don't see customers that much over these 2 years face to face, right? But there are a lot of customers coming back to us, telling us that, they have faced a lot of problems. Problems like, for example, rising costs, supply chain shortage, speed to market, and very scarce resources. So these are very common problems that the industry is facing now, right? So how we, and in the past, just to share with you, it was also quite interesting within ourselves to observe, right? So we have customers, for example, in Indonesia, that before the pandemics, we actually asked them to, automate their factory process more, maybe use more VGA, or maybe, look into digitalization some of their process, so that they can actually be less independent of human intervention. And they always mention to us that, it's not necessary, right? Labor cost is cheap in Indonesia, resources is ample, and then they're simply, not very interested to look at it. But over the last 1 year, this company came back to us and actually, telling us that they regret not, taking this journey much earlier, because they are seriously impacted now. They couldn't get the resources back to work. They couldn't actually, respond to the supply chain shortage, right? So these are some of the, kind of things that we ourselves observe a lot more. And, to really give you a specific example, how we actually help customers, maybe I can also bring you just one example in Singapore. So in Singapore itself, we actually have a fish farm. This company is called SAT. It's Singapore Agriculture Technology. So it's actually a closed containment system for tropical fish itself. And we worked with them last year to launch their, what we call as a smart floating fish farm. And they actually have, we actually implemented an end-to-end digital solution with our IoT operating system. So we put a lot of critical sensor, into the farm container itself. So we are able to collect data such as pH level, temperature, algae growth. And with this data itself, we actually process it across a very secure network. And then we use very advanced technology like IoT, edge technology to actually analyze it. So that, and also with machine learning. So we actually can predict, for example, things like potential biomass growth to prevent some, outcome of the disease, and to ensure that the fish go in a low stress environment, right? So with this kind of a high-tech technology, it actually, for example, help a lot of our Singapore initiative 30 by 30, because not forgetting, Singapore only have 1% of land to actually grow our local nutrition. So we really need to help countries to actually grow more with less, and therefore technology comes in place, right? So this is one of the things that we done last year, in the F&B fabric industry. And the other industry, I think, needless to say, is the famous bio and tech. So, bio and tech, everybody knows that, it was actually to vaccine company, to cancer treatment company, and now even to COVID vaccine company, right? So, from the day the COVID was being detected to the day vaccine was being designed, analyzed, developed, test-bed, and produced. So all this is only done within a year. It's actually one of the fastest vaccine to be deployed within such a short time. And I'm actually proud to say that Siemens was part of the journey. We supported them a lot on their plant automation switch over. using our software, to actually help in their MES system and digitalize a lot of their process, right? And this is only, so this is therefore the deployment of such vaccine is only possible within such a short frame. Yeah. So this is also something, that I just want to share with these two examples. Yeah.
The other thing that Siemens is also involved in is because it's related to your what you term as F&B industry and Singapore's initiatives to basically become more increase its own food security. In one area that you're also in, Siemens, is vertical farming.
Yes.
Could you give us some examples? Because vertical farming doesn't only have Singapore implications, but really implications for the 6 markets that you focus on in the region.
Yeah. So I think, vertical farming is also, the initiative coming across ASEAN, and this is a lot of governments is also talking to us, right? So it's on a similar concept, right? So we are just using, technology as those that I mentioned earlier, right? To actually put sensor in place so that we ensure the environment, the contained environment is actually, very suitable for this kind of a local vertical farming itself. And also, with all these sensor in place to collect data, to apply analytical, kind of studies over them, and then, to actually let, most important, the clients to monitor the entire ecosystem. So I like any industry, right? So this digital IoT, we are actually applying very same methodology, which is always to, put sensor in place, to collect the data and then advise our clients, with the collected data, what we really want the clients to achieve, right?
So Isabel, coming to collecting data and helping businesses transform,
Yep.
The buzzword right now across the region, I think, has taken shape in the last 2 years, particularly, is Industry 4.0. For Singapore, this is nothing new. Singapore has been an early adopter, but I think the rest of the countries in the region have really put a lot of emphasis on this. How is Siemens helping companies in various industries scale up, automate, and digitize?
Yeah, this is actually, one thing that we really want to help industry to really scale up, right? So for example, in Singapore itself, we have a showcase, showroom. We call it AMTC, Advanced Manufacturing Technology Center. So this place actually is a showroom, to test bed solutions for our clients and partners in Southeast Asia. It has also 6 training classrooms, and we have curriculum, such as edge computing, cloud platform computing, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, 3D design. So we actually launched such a training to the public to first educate and create awareness. And these showrooms, is also helping the SME in Southeast Asia to explore and innovate new solutions. Because we know that a lot of SME does not have the resources or facilities or even the means to actually, come with, to actually prototype a solution, right? They might have some ideas what to do, but they really don't have the facilities or means to include other partners in the whole ecosystems to test bed their solution. So with our AMTC in Singapore, which is also serving the Southeast Asia partners, we create such platform for them. And interestingly, that there's many delegates coming to actually visit us, and also educational institute. So we have a lot of university, not only in Singapore, but within Southeast Asia itself, tertiaries, educationalists to actually talk to us, to ask us, from such facilities, how can we actually do more to actually, groom the next generation coming out. And just in 2019, before pandemics, we have also delegates from Malaysia, MIDA, Malaysia Investment Development Authority, coming to visit our AMTC to actually discuss on a similar thread, right? So we are doing a lot, just not only to sell our solutions, but creating the awareness, and also, providing facilities for them to really roll up their hands, to really try on our solutions, and also for them to develop a prototype, a POC. So I think these are the things that Siemens is trying very much to really educate the public also.
So Isabel, you're 5 weeks on the job. What's the strategy for your unit this year for 2022?
Yeah, so 2022, is a very good year for us. I'm glad to join at this time. So we have our orders, really, in a very good year. So I believe that now, when things are moving very well, the demand is actually very good itself. So we actually look at how to improve our footprint in the market. So we have our strategy ASEAN 2026. As we speak now, we are working on this strategy. And this strategy actually involved up to our group level in Siemens itself. This is how serious we want to really grow ASEAN. And you will see much more investment coming also from Siemens to really, invest in this part of the world for the not only for the organic growth itself. We are also looking for M&A to, complement us in terms of, especially on the software portion that is actually suitable for ASEAN market. So there will be a lot of investment that you will see coming to ASEAN. Yeah. So this is definitely a focus market for us. Yeah.
Now, Isabel, I want to zoom in on you, Isabel. Now, you've been voted SG 100 Women in Tech. You are also an inclusion and diversity mentor. So talk to us a little bit about your journey as a woman in technology. You've worked for large organizations like General Electric and ABB as well. How did that shape you?
I just joined as a young girl, obviously, right? Not really knowing, is this the right place for me? Is this the right job? So I must say that I'm actually lucky to first, landed in a good company in my first job itself, right? So I think, and I have a lot of interview about what makes a woman successful in the STEM industry, what we can do differently. And I always give the same answer back, right? Actually, we don't really see ourselves differently to start with. Yeah, on this one. So I think, first we have to encourage the ladies going into the STEM industry that, first we don't really see ourselves, going in. Of course, it can be intimidating, right? But we have to remove that fear in us. And now, on the contrary, I always joke with all this young lady who was advising me, is this a good choice to come in? I said, it is the best place to be in. Because, walking into the room full of guys, and if you can, you really get the attention, right? And after that, if you really show them that you have that capability, to do what they do, in fact, you will actually even, shine very brightly, right? So that is really something for my personal learning. And of course, you also, must have a very understanding superior. That I think, because as a lady itself, we have more challenge in life, to juggle with work and also kids growing up and things like that, right? So I think the understanding of superior is also very important. That I really hope those ladies who is embarking this journey, have that luxury or luck like me, that I always have very understanding boss to actually support me, right? So I think if you have that two elements, that make use of advantage, to actually, instead of a disadvantage coming to the STEM industry, and also hopefully you have a good understanding boss. So then your journey, I think, is going to fly.
Now, on the flip side of the equation, Isabel, you've gone, you're a mature person, you've gone through different stages in life. What are 3 things you would do differently in your life with the benefit of hindsight?
3 things differently in life. Okay. Yeah. At my age now, we do a lot of reflection, right? So I think, 3 things I would do differently in life is maybe, I would read, because one of my ambitions is also when I was young, was really my inspiration was really to go into doing reporting. So I wanted to be a journalist itself, out of my curiosity.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna call you after this.
Yeah, so that was really my personal inspiration, right? To really, because I was very fascinating from young about how news was being created, authentic of the news, and how news are being developed and things like that, right? So I didn't have the chance, right, to do it in the end. So if I could have the chance to even maybe after I retire, I'm not too sure whether it be too old. That would be also something I would like to continue to embark on, right? Yeah, personally, as my personal inspiration. Yeah, and also I think I would really also hope to have more work-life balance, to really spend time to really travel. I think that the world, there's a lot of things to learn also, not only for business wise but also for personal inspiration. So I really hope that moving forward, I won't say to do it differently, but at least moving forward, there will be more chance for me to actually explore the world. Yeah, something that I really want to do personally for myself.
Anything else? There's 2 things. Anything third thing?
No. I think I'm pretty happy with my whatever I am now, and with a good job and good career and colleagues and family. So not too much. It's quite stretched for me to think of 3 things.
Isabel, it's been a fantastic conversation with you. But before we leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, maybe then back to the digitalizations and automation that I mentioned, right? So I think the industry is still looking for ways and means to transform. So every company you talk to, they always say that I'm doing digitalization. I need to do something, right? So, you know, I just want to, you know, also share with the industry players, because we have been helping many companies, right? I think it's first very important to step back on, you know, why are we doing this, right? Is there a direction of the whole company? Why do we want to do this to start with, right? Because if we actually start on the wrong foot, because it is an investment, and it's not a short-term investment. So the journey will be very long, and we see some companies do it very well, able to onboard the whole company, but some company was lost and then, you know, eventually giving it up. And the worst thing is they're not willing to try again, right? So I think those are the questions that, you know, sometimes we need to also step back to really ask at the end of the day, what do we want to achieve from this journey? Is it from cost perspective? Is it we want to improve our R&D? You know, speak to the market and things like this, right? So we have to be very clear in the entire journey to really reap the benefit out of it. Yeah. So talk to Siemens. We have a lot of
The little plugs there, Isabel.
Right? Yeah. I have to end this with this statement. Yeah. Talk to us. You know, we will walk you to this journey so that you yourself really understand if this is really, you know, helpful for your organization moving forward. Yeah.
Isabel, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
Sure. My pleasure. Thanks a lot, Brian.
I'm Brian Fernandez, and I've been speaking to Isabel Chong, Head of Digital Industries ASEAN at Siemens, on Biztech Technology Show. This video and podcast will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in.